Folks, we need to have an adult conversation about someone or people or an energy or frankly a big business around selling and pitching doom.
Mm,
Doom is actually in the social media era a big gigantic business. I have always interacted with people and you always meet people that are glass half full, glass half empty. Some people always lean negative, some folks always lean positive. But what I've seen occur over the last couple of years getting more involved in social media is that doom is a huge business. Now, as you've heard me over the months and years, I am not one to be all bullish all the time. In fact, I told you a recession started in April. I told you the bad times are starting, but I don't consider myself a doomer. And I want to clearly define what a doomer is, because I think if you're watching that stuff, it's kind of poisoning the well. In order to have this conversation, we have to talk with Anna Kelly. How you doing, Anna?
I'm doing great. It's always good to be here, and always a glass half or three-quarters full kind of person, right? But if
Yeah.
we're not careful, when we hear lots of bad news, which in fairness, the American people and really globally have been hit with bad news after bad news after bad news for several years now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I'm seeing many more people afraid of everything that we can't control, everything that's uncertain really can put people in a deep fear and deep funk. And people that are unscrupulous see that and want to feed on that and want to just keep that bad news coming so that you'll like and subscribe and follow and buy their stuff to allay your fears. So you do have to be really careful to always check yourself with reality. And sometimes that's hard to do in a
Mhm.
world of fake news and AI generated images that make people believe, everything's happening that's not. And totally different worlds of reality depending on if you watch NBC or Fox or CNN. It's really hard for people to discern what's really going on and how do I check my emotions against these kind of things. And so you've got a few that are glass half full. Maybe they're overly optimistic and ignoring the bad news, but I think way more people are so fearful right now of doom and gloom that they're blocking their ability to still move forward and have hope and make good out of the bad things that are happening today.
Yeah, I want to be very clear. So again, I don't mind understanding we're in a bad time. Recessions aren't
Yes.
fun, or earnings recession. Um, I don't mind kind of appreciating that. In fact, I think it's warranted. But
Right.
this is. I will call you a doomer if you do the following. If your feed is 100% doom and every article is reason to pitch doom, you're a doomer.
Right.
If you can't find the silver lining in 1 out of 20 posts, it's not helping your audience. If you are
Right.
preaching fear and you are causing your audience to just freeze, you're not helping them. If you are frozen, Anna, in a recession, you're going to get run over. You are
Right.
going to go backwards. In a
Right.
recession, you have to make moves. Now, you don't have to buy assets that are on sale. No, but maybe you skill up. Maybe you do this. Maybe you do that. Recessions, generally speaking, are 2 years or less. I think 18 months is the last. Bull
Yeah.
markets are 10 to 12 years. Recessions are natural part of the business cycle.
Yes,
They
they
are
are.
not to be feared. They are to be understood.
Right.
But there are people, Anna, preaching doom every day that make 80
Yeah.
grand a month pitching doom. Why would they stop? They have a flock of sheep frozen in place who don't
Yeah.
look up. Don't be sheep. It's crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, Warren Buffett says, be greedy when everyone's fearful and be fearful when everybody is greedy. And that doesn't mean use people's fear to become greedy, right? That's what some of these doomers are doing that are making $80,000 a month on the fears of people. But what he's basically saying is that you have to understand that when we are in a period that is tough, like heading into a recession, I mean, it's not fun. It doesn't feel good for a lot of people that are, not prepared for it. That you have to understand the psychology of people is that fear breeds fear and more
Mm.
bad news breeds more bad news. And so you have to really be able to check yourself to say, am I following and listening to just negative stuff that's going to make me be in that same category of people that is so motivated and driven by fear that I miss the opportunity to do amazing things for my family, for my life, and to protect us, and to find the joy, in the things that we can control. And so we have to kind of understand that during times like this, most people do get very, very fearful and they run away. And if you don't recognize that that's what you're feeding into and listening to and paying for and the only people that you're following, you're going to be sucked right in by your emotions. It's natural human nature to be afraid when we don't have control, or when all we see is scary things all around us. So you have to be prepared to say, wait a second, I'm seeing so much doom. I know that this is a sign for me to realize that this is a maximum point of opportunity. And so am I going to choose to listen to all the doom, or am I going to say the glass is half full? Because of all this fear, there's also great opportunity here for me to, with integrity, help people out of bad situations, make the best, continue to move forward with wisdom, with caution, but moving forward nonetheless with optimism. If you're prepared to do that, you'll do well in a recession.
Yeah, I want to give you an example. So I've been lucky enough to correspond with Danielle DiMartino Booth, who I think is amazing. I think she does great things. She wrote a great book. I think she's amazing. She's not a doomer. I don't want to paint that. That's not what I'm saying. But I was lucky enough to interact with her today. And one of the, respondents that got in the same tweet thread said the following. And I want to just use this as an example of a silver lining. So there's a dad whose daughter is trying to buy a first-time home buyer today. And his daughter is frustrated, right? Rates are up, prices are up, it's unaffordable, right? She can't get it done today and she's disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that. What I replied to the guy is, you know what? Go to your daughter and tell her, you know what, honey? It's a great thing that rates are over 7%. You know what? All of your competition is leaving. You know what, honey?
Yes.
We're going to do this different. We're going to stop looking at first day listings. We're going to go look at days on market over 45 or 60.
Yes.
And we're going to write stupid low offers and see if we get lucky. Honey, this could be the best thing for you ever. Let's go.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's the thing. When everybody else is afraid, that's all the people that you're competing with. Whether you're looking at a single family home, multifamily housing, whatever, half your competition is gone. And so now you've got way more supply, which those that are selling right now, right, are very motivated. Yeah. So you've got an increased supply of motivated sellers and a decrease, demand for that property. If you have 10 properties in your area that are okay, make an offer on all 10 of them and see what's making people motivated. It's a lot better than being in a situation where people got outbid for 2 years by people going cash and $50,000 over asking, no inspections, appraisal gaps, etc. That was really hard. So I agree with you. It's all about perspective. And it's not to say, oh, what I like that you just said there is you said, yes, it's hard, but this is also great opportunity because it's hard. And honestly, everything good that's ever come out of my life, really good and lasting, has come during hard. It's like, choose your hard. The hard is I'm going to sit back and complain and be upset that I got to rent, or I'm going to choose my hard to say I'm going to get after it, make lots of, offers, even if I'm rejected, and keep going. And then just something great might actually come of it. And what I find is it usually does.
Yeah. And again, this is what's important to me. Doomers don't talk like this. It is hard.
For sure.
But use that to your advantage. 90% of your competition are freaking snowflakes and want to sit on their ass and do nothing. Go be the 10%. Take your shot. Right. And I want to be clear to this guy. You're going to write lots of offers. Most are going to tell you no. Some of them will tell you hell no. But you're going to find out where their floors are. And your daughter just might get a property for 20, 25, or 30% below list. And I say this as someone who did this 6 months ago. Right. Guys, go back on my playlist. On Thanksgiving, I took on a personal challenge because Yahoo Finance said 87% of people think it's a bad time. I said, score 13% of my competition. I like my odds. I bought 2 properties out of the MLS for 32% less than list price and flipped them and made 90 grand.
Wow. That's awesome.
This is freaking repeatable, guys. Look for the silver lining. Stop feeding yourself doom. Go figure out what do the work means for you. and take your freaking shot. What's the worst thing they say? No.
Right.
It's frustrating.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it is, you always want to, what I love about the show is we tell the truth, we share the bad, and then we share how do we overcome it, right? Because there's going to be bad in every market. There's going to be hard things in every market, whether it's too much competition, not enough houses, not enough bank loans, whatever it is, there's lots of hard. But those that really succeed, and if you really look at real estate, it's easy to get started with your first rental. It's easy to buy one. It's pretty easy to buy two, right? You think it's hard because you haven't done it yet, but it's pretty easy to buy one or two. It sometimes gets harder as you go, right? But what really separates those that create a little extra cash from those that create tremendous wealth in real estate is your mindset and your ability to tackle hard. Really, I mean, yes, by the grace of God, absolutely, I have to give kudos there. But if it wasn't for grit and determination, it's not about every deal I did was a slam dunk or easy deal. The grit and the resilience for me to get through the hard, I really started scaling up in 2009 while I was losing my job, losing my business, had a lot of debt, and lost most of my 401k. Like, I had enough reasons to wallow in self-pity and to just never get out of the mud. But I had to muster up that strength and that grit and determination that said, if I stay here, nothing's going to get better. It's just going to all be hard. Or I can choose a different hard and say, how can I, despite the hard, jump over the obstacle? And I might get 10 bank no's, and I did. And I had to have the resilience and learn that resilience and that grit muscle to say, I'm not going to let the 9th no stop me, because it's the 10th bank that said yes to a second mortgage on equity when nobody wanted to, lend on real estate. So just an example of that, where you choose your hard, you choose grit and determination, and then you say, how can I? You don't let the hard be an excuse for you to stop. You don't let the doom and gloom that you're hearing be an excuse for you to stop. But what you do have to do is say, I'm going to stop feeding my mind with all the people that I'm following or paying that are just doom and gloom, and really take in the bad, but then say, how can I make this good? And if you can do that, and then you don't become paralyzed by the doom, you say, this is a bad thing, but let me choose to not just look at the glass half empty. Let me choose to say, how can I make that glass full? What can I do about it? And just do the work every single day. And you will grow wealth, because you're always of the mindset of, how can I make this better? How can I use this as an opportunity? And it's not, unfortunately, that many real estate investors as a percentage. It might be the top 2 or 3% of real estate investors who really stick it out for a decade and create tremendous wealth. But that's what separates. It's not your access to your network, or what banks you use, or what properties you find, or what market you're in. It's how gritty are you, and how optimistic do you choose to be? And do you do the work every single day, despite your emotions saying run, because everyone else is telling you to do that?
Yeah, one more shout out to Danielle DiMartino Booth. Again, full respect, love everything she does. Again, in our interaction this morning, she's like, I like what you're talking about, basically, but it's too early to write those offers. I'm like, Danielle, most of the folks have never done this. They have to have practice and repetition. I can tell you, the first time I wrote a lowball offer, I was scared out of my gourd. But you know what? I've done 100, 200, 300. I don't care anymore. I'll write 5 in a day. It just doesn't matter. So I want that dad, or any dad or mom like that, or any person who feels like 7% can't get it done, to flip the script, to, instead of look at first day listings, look at 45 or 60 days, and write a stupid, disrespectful lowball offer and see what happens. Just see what happens. Again, find the silver lining. And that's the thing about doomers. If you go to their feed, everything's doom. Don't follow them. If a doomer says it's scary out there, but it's scary out there, but these are how you can make moves, great. But doomers are a huge business, and it is growing. It is the easiest way to grow on social media. If you want to grow on social media, become a shill and only preach doom. There are plenty of sheep that will follow you. I am not going there. Anna, wrap us up and bring us home.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't listen to what he just said. or at least if you see them doing that, don't pay them for their stuff,
Don't pay
right?
them.
Don't
Yeah,
buy
my
the Kool-Aid.
goodness.
So
Yeah.
no,
Ugh.
I think that's it. You know, we've experienced hard and we're going to experience more hard. And there's always going to be
Hey,
challenges ahead
Anna,
and things that
I
are
want people to realize that you're probably going to live through 4 or 5 of these in your lifetime. This
right, because
might be
the
your
average
first.
economic cycle is only 8 years. We've had the
Exactly.
longest expansion period in history since Abraham Lincoln, which went over 12 years. But normally it's 7 to 8 years from bottom to top and bottom to top and bottom to top, because every boom creates a bust, and the bust kind of cleans out and clears out the bad
The
companies and the
excess.
bad
Yeah.
debt and the excess, and then you start again. So if you can learn that the bottom is actually where the huge wealth is made, because you have time to ride that wealth up to the boom. You buy when you're around doom and gloom, and you sell when it's this irrational exuberance that nothing can go wrong. That's when you go, this might be a good time to take out my wins, and then
Mhm.
be ready and excited when the doom comes to start all over again for the next 7 or 8 years. So
Exactly. Anna, where can people find you?
great. You can find me here every week on your show. You can find me on social media, Anna Kelly, REI Mom, for some positive but realistic news, not doom and gloom. And you can follow me on reimom.com for coaching and consulting.
Thank you so much.